Witch lore versus commercial film witch depictions are about as far apart as the North and South poles of the Earth. However, we're not here to debate the philosophy behind Wiccan belief or witchcraft or any of that. We're here to talk about these long, pointy-nosed, wart-covered, green-skinned, fouling-smelling child eaters who've plagued many fairy tales and beyond throughout pop culture. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 wickedly wonderful films featuring witches. Number 1. The Craft. Andrew Fleming directed this 1996 supernatural horror following 4 teen girls as they navigate Catholic school and becoming a powerful little coven. Sarah just moved to LA from San Francisco and attends the local school, slowly befriending 3 girls who are rumored to be witches. One day, Bonnie sees Sarah using her power in class by levitating a pencil, and knows they finally found their 4th member. Giddy with this possibility, Bonnie tells Nancy and Rochelle, and they invite Sarah to join their coven. A little hesitant at first, Sarah starts to realize she does have some supernatural powers, and decides to join them. They start off with fun and games, but slowly start wreaking havoc on those that cross them, including their parents. Nancy soon pushes for them to summon Manon, a powerful earth god, in hopes of gaining true power. However, they all learn quickly that things come back threefold. It's an epic story that has a great cult following and themes that are still relevant today. Racism is one of the bigger themes, as Rochelle is the only black student at this school and suffers from all the bullying and whatnot from just being different. Mental health also plays a factor, considering Sarah has had a depressive past, but it's touched on a little rough. One of my favorite aspects in this film is how nicely and properly they depicted the Wiccan religion. Normally in our Christian society, anything that's not Christian is bad. But the production company hired Pat Devin to make sure everything went respectful and more accurate. Either way, the cast embodies their roles, starring Robin Tooney, Fairuza Balk, Neve Campbell, Rachel True, and Skeet Ulrich. Make sure to check out this cult classic or revisit on Pluto, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 2. The Witch. In 2015, we got an adaptation of New England folklores from Robert Eggers that explored the questions of what it would be like to live in the 1600s, excommunicated from their plantation into isolation. In the film, we mostly follow Thomasin, a teenager who isn't quite behind her father's teachings of Christianity. Quickly after the family is living on an isolated farm, the newest member to the family, a baby named Sam, is taken by a witch. This sparks their fear further than they expected. Throughout the film, the use of natural light and candles gives the ambience of not knowing what's coming. Often, darker scenes hint to the curiosity and fear that comes with the unknown. And Thomasin, as much as she tries, still ends up walking into the dark, shedding her Christian chains, getting her worldly prize. While the film has many themes, the one I find the most interesting is the religious aspect. The family is sent away due to a difference in belief at their plantation. Our main family is devout Christian, while the plantation was Puritan. And then there's the witchcraft that is portrayed as evil. The religious extremism is something that is in your face in this film, with many prayers. The father telling the son that it's the will of God as to what's happening to them. All they have to do is trust in him. I am sorry, but you still have to do the work. Bad shit happens. So what? Deal with it. I digress. The film does a phenomenal job bringing the fear, not through jump scares, but by the unknown, the lighting, and an epic score. Anya Taylor-Joy is a brilliant actress, owning the part of Thomasin so eloquently that often I felt bad for what she had to endure. Make sure to take some time to catch this riveting story on Fandango, Prime, Apple TV, or Google Play. Number 3, Witches. Adapted from the novel The Witches by Roald Dahl, Nicholas Roeg directed this classic tale of witches coming to take over. We follow Luke, a young boy who lost his parents, living with his grandma, when they decide to go on a vacation due to his grandma's worsening health. Luke learns that witches are real and ready to devour children, and already had a run-in with one prior to their vacation. Isn't this the age-old story? Witches need to consume children for their youth. Anyway, I digress. At the hotel, there's a conference of witches trying to figure out a way to get the children in some way. When the High Witch brings them a potion that is to be used in suites around the area that turns these kids into mice. Luke sees one of the kids transform into a mouse and knows the fight is on. The film has a way of depicting witches to be ugly, old, and just kind of disturbing, while also making these kids seem more innocent than mischievous. Many people worked on this film for puppeteering, including the infamous son of Jim Henson, Brian Henson. This would be Jim's final project before his death, leaving Brian to take over Henson Productions later on. So 80 Babies. Pay a tribute to Jim's final film and check this out on Netflix before you turn into a mouse. Number 4, Suspiria. 1977 brought us this Italian supernatural horror art film directed by Dario Argento that left the world shook. This is not a typical film by any means, as the color palette is more vibrant, using Disney's Technicolor to help with the brightness. Every time you watch this, you will see something different, hear something different, almost as if you're bewitched yourself. No more tango, let's waltz into this breakdown, as we follow a new student, Susie, when she attends this prestigious dance school in West Germany. Ballet is a tough thing to learn. It takes a lot of skill, practice, devotion, and eventually, your whole body and life force. The headmistress of the school is actually our head witch, as she uses the girls' dances as a way to feed her power. Now, we've talked about the brutality of the dance scene before, and I will say, it is horrific to watch as the body just breaks apart, contorting into various ways. But the way that these witches kill and consume their prey is something left to the imagination. Susie did meet Deputy Headmistress Madame Blanc, but she soon finds out that the real person in charge has been a witch for quite some time, dating back to 1895, named Helena Marcos. We learn that she is the one fueling the others, and Susie learns she's got to try to survive this. But can she have her last dance in freedom? Find out for yourself on Pluto. Number 5, Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus may give many a millennial goose pimples and warm feelings, but inside this 1993 kids' classic Halloween romp are some very dark elements. Although the tone is kept light and adventurous, the trio of witches, known as the Sanderson sisters, are trying to eat the town's children. They also possess a spellbook, the Manual of Witchcraft and Alchemy, which is bound in human flesh and penned in blood. Hocus Pocus follows Max Dennison and his younger sister Danny, who have recently moved to Salem from LA with their family. On Halloween, Max retentively takes his sister trick-or-treating. They meet up with Allison Watts, a girl from school that Max just so happens to have a crush on. They visit the old Sanderson sisters' cottage, which contains the evil spell book, only to inadvertently bring the Sanderson sisters back. Winnie, Sarah, and Mary Sanderson are portrayed by Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy, respectively, and they definitely deliver some serious silver screen magic. Their on-screen charisma is more than just commendable. It's, dare I say, enchanting. And the Sanderson sisters wreak havoc with their spellbook by raising the dead and even putting the townspeople under a trance through song. So get under its spell and stream Hocus Pocus on Disney+, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 6, Blair Witch. In 1999, the world was in awe to the newest found footage film, The Blair Witch Project, as we followed 3 film students documenting their way through the Black Hills forests, trying to uncover the truth behind the legend of the Blair Witch. However, all 3 of them end up missing. Only their footage was found. Now, 17 years later, in 2016, the Blair Witch found its way back to the silver screen. James, the younger brother to Heather, is trying to uncover if she's still alive after finding a video that seems to have Heather in it. James and 3 friends decide to go and check out the Black Hills forest and end up gaining 2 tag-alongs. During the hike out, one of the girls cuts her foot crossing the creek, and after some time, it seems that there's something living in the wound. It's disgusting, but a great effect. The second night in the woods, sounds and electrical problems amp up, with one of the guys seeing somebody, all in white, freaks out, starts running, when a tree falls on him. The noises, shadows, and lack of light intensify the moment as James runs to find his friend, afraid to lose another loved one to the forest. The same signs creep up each night with the stick figures hanging from the trees and piles of rocks. However, the morning of the rocks show up, everything amplifies. One of the tag-along friends dies, tents ripped up from their spots, and the group gets separated again. As they're apart, the idea of the witch explodes into fruition. People are dying in bizarre ways or being dragged off screen by some unseen entity. After some time, James gets hoodwinked into believing his sister is still inside the house they find. The witch then shows herself to James, leaving him to be another victim. Blair Witch is one that lures people through stories and loss of loved ones, then will stop at nothing to get her victims' fear levels beyond normal, making them more vulnerable and easier for them to make mistakes, bringing them willingly to their demise as they have the fleeting hope of safety ripped away at each turn. The natural light and camera light and found footage style is what brings out the scares, but make sure to watch it with surround sound and pay attention as you witness the twists unravel over on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 7, Practical Magic. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman star in this 1998 romantic fantasy directed by Griffin Dunn, adapted from the 1995 novel of the same name by Alice Hoffman. We're going to start off with the trailers. They do not match up with the actual film. Mostly the trailers take the fun, light-hearted moments and making it seem more like a romance than what it really is. It's by no means scary, yet more mysterious than anything. So let's talk about it. Sally and Jillian grew up with their aunts and were basically shunned by the townspeople. The town knew that there was a curse on the family, a love curse that caused any man who loved one of the women in the family would die. Sally ends up making it so real love will never get her, but Jillian becomes obsessed with the idea of love. Sally stays where she grew up and marries, has 2 kids, and then tragically loses her husband. Jillian moved all around the country, chasing the possibility of falling madly in love. While Jillian ends up with an abusive man, and the sisters accidentally kill him. A police officer ends up investigating the dead man, then linking the sisters to him. But the chemistry between the cop and Sally turns into a fiery passion. Jillian's dead boyfriend starts possessing her, trying to kill Sally for revenge. Now it's time to save the day or die trying. It's an interesting story, giving all the deaths, curses, and everything it takes to end the cycle. It sounds kind of funny, but in a way it feels like this story shows us we can break generational cycles, or curses if you will, of abuse, not loving somebody properly, and the selfishness that I know we have all seen or been victim to in our lives. But let me know what you think after you check this out on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8, Pyewacket. Writer and director Adam McDonald brought us this 2017 horror thriller that left me on the edge of my seat. Starring Nicole Munoz and Laurie Holden as Leah and her mom, Mrs. Reyes, we follow them as they move to an isolated house, an hour away from the city, surrounded by a forest. After the death of Mr. Reyes, Leah turns to the occult to make some kind of sense of what's happened, as her mother is no use to her considering she's drowning in her own grief. After an argument between mother and daughter, the daughter runs into the woods and screams that she wishes her mother would die. This sparks something within Leah as she goes back to the house, grabs some items, and heads back out. There she performs a ritual to summon the demon Pyewacket. That same night, strange things start happening, and soon, Leah learns that black magic is to not be tested unless you're ready to face all the damage threefold. It's an intense film, and the camera work accompanying each scene really brings you in. There are times where Leah is so terrified at what's happening, even the camera is trembling. The ominous score that looms in the background is enough to make the hairs stand on edge. But let's not forget the practical effects are some of the best I've seen in a while. While Pyewacket is coming out of the house after Leah, stumbling and changing forms, it's so fluid it makes it even more creepy. This is one you won't want to miss, so check it out on AMC Plus, Sling, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 9, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Andre Øvredal directed his first English language film in 2016, starring Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch. I personally don't base much thought into what Rotten Tomatoes claims. However, the majority of critics say this film is a smart, suggestively creepy thriller. And for once, I 100% agree with that statement. We follow a father and son working at their home as a coroner and a certified medical assistant. They're brought the body of a Jane Doe, and the sheriff wants a cause of death by the morning. This proves to be the most challenging thing they've ever done. As soon as Jane Doe arrives, unexplainable things begin to happen. More so troubling the men is that her body is so clean, no rigor mortis, yet her eyes are clouded as if she's been dead for a few days. It becomes clear that there's something else at play that defies logic. The woman has internal scarring as if knives have stabbed her. Under her skin are writings. And the most bizarre thing, her blood flows freely even with no heart present in her body. Signs point to Leviticus 20:27, claiming her to be a witch. But we never really get a solid answer. I was skeptical about this movie, thinking it was just like every other horror film, but was pleasantly surprised to see the eeriness come to life. Some of the supposed jump scares are predictable, but even the actors just look at it like, okay, now you're here. We still have other shit to deal with. The timing of the radio also gives a bit of a tell, so take some time and enjoy this creepy autopsy over on the CW, AMC Plus, Sling, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10, The Witches of Eastwick. George Miller directed this 1987 dark fantasy comedy and was adapted from the novel of the same name by John Updike. The film stars 80s icons Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer. We follow the three women as they inadvertently form a coven, bringing Daryl, played by Nicholson, to their quaint town of Eastwick. Daryl quickly attaches to the three women, seducing them and heightening their powers. At first it seems like all fun and games, but as others get injured, the trio realize their wrongdoings. Making a pact with each other, they vow to stay away from each other and Daryl. However, that doesn't last too long as Daryl inflicts horrendous nightmares on them, each one facing their biggest fear. The women decide they need to stop him and begin in the plan of attack. I will be honest with this, I believe this is one of Jack Nicholson's better performances. He has that look and demeanor that elevates his evilness to his character. Pairing Nicholson with Cher, Pfeiffer, and Sarandon was a risk, but it paid off threefold. Each of these women play their parts so elegantly and with natural precision that makes it all the more believable. If you haven't seen this or want to revisit, you can over on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at Studios Fat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.